lot about coming to a new program, getting comfortable, and you've described that already. In terms of becoming a leader, is there a point where you started to feel like that was setting in and that people were listening to you in the locker room, or maybe that won't happen until you play a game? I don't know, but like I'm trying to make that different than just like, hey, you know where to go for practice.
Yeah, no, it's that's a huge part of it, especially coming in. I say that my situation is very different than like coming in as a true freshman. You have to come in and really gain the respect and the trust of a whole football team in the span of 6-7 months. And for me, the first thing that was the most important thing was just getting relationships with everyone. I was like, I want to get to know everyone on the team because they're not going to respect me if they don't know me. And so that was the first thing. that was what the spring was for, what the winter was for. I was like, all right, I want to get to know these guys, let them get to know me, and kind of just go from there. And then once I feel like for me, like once we got through that spring, coming back into the summer, and we started up summer workouts, that was when I kind of started to settle into that role and feel a little more comfortable, challenging guys, just because we already had that relationship. I feel like we worked hard in the summer, and Coach Mick gave us a lot of opportunities to become leaders, through some of the challenges we had in our workouts and our runs, and he put us through the fire so that we had to deal with some adversity before we just get out there on the field, because it can't be the first time that you're going through something out on the field. So we've already experienced a lot of tough stuff in our controlled environment, but I'm excited to get out there on the field and show these guys how I can really play in a real setting, because they haven't got to see me play in a game yet. So I'm excited for that.
We'll go over here down to Barry. The players say there's nothing like playing a game in the shoe. This will be your first experience. What are you most looking forward to? How well will you sleep the night before the game, and just what's going through your mind?
Man, I'm so excited. Like I truly can't, I can't overstate that. Like how excited I am. I'm fired up, man. I grew up as a kid watching the Big Ten. I've played in a lot of places now. At this point in my career, I've played in front of hundreds of thousands. But the shoe and the atmosphere here, it's different, man. And the traditions, I'm really excited just to experience all of it. We've walked through like what's it going to be like on a game day, but just getting out there and doing it for the first time. And I think the thing I'm most excited for is running out and in front of 110,000 at the shoe. And just taking that in, because I only get so many opportunities here. I want to make sure I soak it in before we go out there and get to business, strap it up and play.
We'll go over to the left, Whitney Harding.
Hey, Will. I asked Ryan this question as well. Exciting week 0. Every coach and player will always say you don't look ahead. Was the Florida State loss, is that just a reminder of that mindset? I don't know if you saw the game, but
I did.
Is that just a reminder of, you've got to stay locked in on each game?
100%. And I mean, I think that shows you that, especially conference games, I mean, anything can happen. And you can't overlook anyone, just because, Georgia Tech was a lower seed and, wasn't really ranked. I mean, you can say that, for really anything, but I think it just really emphasizes the fact that, you can't overlook anyone, and the most important thing is what's right in front of you. And for us, that we know that we got a lot of matchup games down the road and a lot of really important games and some tough teams to play. But the most important thing for us right now is Akron, and it's because it's the next thing.
We'll go right here in the front, Bill Virginia.
Just this year, does it feel like a whirlwind to you that a year ago you were playing for Kansas State and now you're here? I mean, have you been able to process all this?
Yeah, it is. It is a little weird, It's kind of stepping back and thinking about like, oh, I'm going to be playing college football, but not at K-State. It was kind of weird at first when I had to kind of put that in my brain, but I've mentally prepared myself for this, for a while, and I kind of knew that last year was probably going to be my last year there, so I knew that whatever I was going to be doing was going to be a new step. And I mean, this step that I've taken has just been a blessing in every single way. I feel like just the opportunity and the challenges that I've had to go through already here, have really made me better, as a player. I feel like a different player than I did even last year. So I'm just excited because it's a new opportunity, it's a new challenge, and it's kind of lit a new spark in me, and I don't want to say I was complacent last year, or, in my time at K-State, because I wasn't, but it lit a new spark, and there's something special about this team and about this year, and I'm excited, man. It's gonna be fun.
Go over here to the right, Adam King.
Kind of two parts here. One,
Yeah.
what was your reaction when Ryan told you were the starter? And two, in your mind, what does it mean to be the starting quarterback at Ohio State? What comes with that? What is that role?
Obviously, when he told us, I was very excited. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and I don't take it lightly. And there's a lot of really, really good players in that room, and to be named the starter in a group like we have is an honor, and it truly is special to me. And being the starting quarterback of Ohio State, it's truly, like I said, it's a blessing, man. It's not something I take lightly, and I know that there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. I know there's a lot of expectations and pressure, if you will. But I knew that was the first goal on my list when we got here. Was to be the guy, and I knew I had to work for it, and the guys in the room weren't going to make it easy. But I felt like I had a good camp, and I showed the coaching staff that, what I could do, and felt like I finally settled into the offense for the first time. And just going through fall, I feel really, really confident with kind of how I'm feeling the offense out and how I'm kind of evolving in this system. And yeah, I'm flattered. I'm fired up, man. It's humbling, but it's also something I don't take lightly at all, and I'm humbled. I'm blessed, man. It's gonna be fun.
On the aisle here, second row, Bill Landis.
Well, I asked Coach Day this, but he and Coach Kelly both kind of called you the run game coordinator of the offense, and I know you did a lot of run game stuff at K-State, but is there anything different about what's on your plate here with this run game with Chip, and I guess just the responsibility of making sure you're always on point with your reads? How do you think you've handled that throughout camp?
I think it's really good for me, and I think they say that all the time is what is your job in the run game? You're the run game coordinator, and it's my job to say we have a good play called, or we got a pressure coming from the field. We don't want to run this play into it. It's my job to get us in and out of that. Obviously the coaches can only do so much, but we're the ones that are out there, actually calling the shots, and I'm the one that's got the chalk last on a lot of that stuff. So it's cool. It gives me a little more sense of responsibility about the offense, and it makes you as a quarterback, you're always clued into something. It's when you're a quarterback and you're mentally taking plays off, that's not a good thing. You should be locked, dialed in every single play. Here, what's my plan? I need to have a plan every single play. And Coach Kelly and Coach Day have done a really good job of kind of instilling that in me, and just taking responsibility for a lot of the things that I have to do. In terms of whether it's protection or run game, whatever it is. Whether it's controlling it with our different calls or RPOs or whatever it may be. It's my job to get us in and out of good and bad plays. And it's a good responsibility. It's good for me for developing myself for the next level, and I think it's good for overall for the team, because when you have a run system where you can call a play and it can go 3 different ways and all of them have an answer for everything, like that makes it easier on you as an offense. You don't have to run plays and waste plays that are good versus something and not something else.
Front row, Julie Crawford.
What's it been like having Chip Kelly when you're here with the headset and practices, and how different is that for you as a quarterback this year to have that new technology? I
think it's when you use it to your advantage and in a good way, it's really cool. And I think it took a little getting used to. We had to work through some kinks, and some days it's really loud and staticky, and some days it's it's perfect. But just going through it and kind of working out the kinks of it through camp, I think there's a lot of really cool things you can use it for, and if you're breaking the huddle, early, you got him till 15 seconds. He can give you little reminders here and there. Like there's little things that you can do with the headset, and I think you can, if you use it to your advantage and you're efficient with it, then I think it's going to be a really good tool for us.
When we talked to you, you were mentioning one of the things you wanted to get better at is just pushing the ball down the field more, not necessarily how good you were, but just your eagerness to do it a little bit more often. And this is, I mean this with all due respect to all the talent you've played with in your career. How much of that is just the weapons you have here being open means to something a little bit different, where maybe you're able to take a few more chances because you're throwing the guys where maybe you haven't had guys like this in the past?
Yeah, and I mean no disrespect to the guys I've played with, because I've played with some really good players, and I don't want anyone to take this out of context, because I've played with a lot of good players, but I think here it's a little different, and the way that Coach Day and Coach Kelly teach some things are, hey, that guy's wide open. He may not look wide open. He may have a guy right on him, but he's wide open. In the NFL, he's wide open, and that's the mindset that I've had to kind of develop a little more, is like, he may not be, he may not look to the general public like he's open, but if you put a back shoulder ball on him, then, that's a play you can make. And with the guys that we have here, I mean, they make plays like I've never seen anyone make plays before. So, that has nothing to do. I'm just strictly speaking about the guys that, I have. But I'm saying, like, it's a blessing to be able to, wherever if it's one-on-one coverage, I mean, they're open. It just depends on how I have to throw the ball. And I think that was a lot how Coach Kelly and Coach Day kind of instilled that in my brain. Like, hey, he may not look open, but he's wide open,
No, I'm sorry, just
We're going to take 3 more. First round, get ready.
I'm trying to remember, did y'all huddle at all at Kansas State? When is the last time you really were able to step into a huddle, call a play, and, the vision of that is, the romantic vision is, you're upbraiding somebody about something, though, before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got to drive the ball, but how much do you think that will help, I guess, from a demeanor standpoint for this offense this year? How much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's cool. I've been in huddle system. My freshman and sophomore year, we were all huddle out of K-State, and we were all off of a wristband or not, but we were all out of a huddle. And I kind of like that, and when you're good with the huddle, and when you get out of the huddle with, 20, 25 seconds left, and you get out there and you have time to, analyze the defense, then it's good. But if you get caught in the huddle, and, there can be things that can go bad with it. But I think the way that we're using it here, trying to break the huddle, be efficient, getting out onto the football, it's good. And I like having that FaceTime with my guys, a little bit before the play. And like you said, like, whether it's reminding them on this play, hey, the running back, we got to do, this kind of footwork, or whatever it is, like just giving them a little, hey, let's go get this, let's go get this one, guys. Like, whatever it may be, like, I like just being able to look at them all in the face, and, before we get out to the line of scrimmage. I think that there's a cool element to that.
Thanks. 2 more, right in the middle, Dan Hope.
Will, how has your maybe, approach to things changed from when you were competing for a starting job to when you were named the starter and now you're just preparing to be the starter?
Yeah, I think, it changes a little bit. I feel like when you're given that position, you're able to have a little more of a say in things. Say like, we're going through some pass concepts. When you're competing for a job, you may not be as eager to say, hey, I don't really like that concept, coach. But now when you're the starter, and they're telling you, hey, we want to hear your input. If you don't like a play, then we're not going to run it. Like that. That's kind of the difference. And I just feel like I have a little more ownership in some of the play calls, and some of the just some of the reads and some of the stuff that we're doing. And obviously, there's a structure to everything, and I gotta do what the coaches tell me to. But I do feel like I have more say, and I can, voice my opinion on, hey, I like this concept, I don't like this concept, and it's more of a collaborative effort, from that perspective.
And last question, Dave Holmes.
Will, has there been a moment, something, whether it's a fan interaction, teammates, walking around campus of the city, that's given you a sense of I'm not trying to be flippant here, but I'm not in Kansas anymore? I mean, have you had that moment where you're like, oh my goodness, things are bigger here?
You know, I knew, you know, like I said, I grew up a Big Ten, you know, watching the Big Ten. Growing up, unfortunately, was a Penn State fan for most of my life, but now, you know, I came to the bright side. But I'd say that spring game, man. When I went out there for the spring game and there was 82,000 people, I was like, at K-State we didn't even have a spring game, you know, like they used to do spring games and they would, you know, they'd pack it out, but I mean 82,000 at you know, at a, if you will, glorified scrimmage is pretty crazy, you know. And everyone just kept asking me like, oh, what was you guys' spring game like? And I was like, we had a practice 15. We didn't have a, you know, a spring game. So, you know, it's a little different, but you know, everything, it's cool, man. You know, the market is huge here. You know, in Manhattan, it was really cool because it was a small college town and everyone was so bought in. But here it's like, it's a big city, but you still feel that like everyone in the city, like, is just huge Buckeyes fans. And feeling that in a big city is really cool. It's like, dang, like, you know, it's not just a small town kind of thing. It's like, you know, everyone in this city is really like bought into the Buckeyes, and man, it's cool. It's unlike anything else, really.
All right, well, thank you, buddy.
All right, hey, thank you guys.